I, 28-year-old female, am currently taking care of my niece Tina, 9-year-old female, while my brother is out of town for work for a month. I work from home, so I temporarily moved to my brother's house to look after her. Tina's mother passed away, but her maternal grandparents live in the same neighborhood. My brother told me they visit the grandparents weekly, and sometimes Tina will play with the cousins as her aunt and uncle also often visit her grandparents. Tina has plenty of toys. She is also tidy and usually picks up after herself, so I don't really know what toys she has. Just a few hours ago, Tina's aunt, Wendy, dropped by with her son Bill, 9-year-old male, and asked Tina to return some figures that were her stepson's. I asked Tina for them, but she refused, saying she won the figures in their poker game and was entitled to it. Apparently their older cousins played poker together at their grandparents and taught the younger ones to play as well. Tina said that Bill wanted to play with her tablet, but she refused. The older cousins then suggested they played poker for it, an hour on Tina's tablet versus something Bill has that Tina would want in return. The only things Tina thought was worth an hour on her device were the Star Wars figures Wendy accidentally unloaded from her car and made Bill keep an eye on. So Bill wagered the figures, and he lost all but 2 of them to Tina, with their 12-year-old cousin as their witness. Wendy then needed to hurry home and grabbed Bill, not noticing the difference in the bag. The figures were Bill's half-brother who forgot the bag in Wendy's car. He was panicking when he noticed all but 2 of his figures are missing, so Bill was forced to tell his mom and brother what happened. Wendy asked for the figures back. They are not particularly expensive, like $25–30 each, but Bill's brother did save up for them. Tina refused to give them back, saying she won them fair and square, and their cousin was the witness to the game. Wendy said she couldn't hold a child poker game responsible for loss of actual properties and that Tina needs to return the figures. I offered to call my brother and did, but his co-worker picked up and said my brother was in a very important meeting and people not directly involved could not interrupt. As my brother forgot his phone, he would be unreachable until the end of the meeting, 6 or 7 hours from now. So I left a message asking him to call me back. I told Wendy we would have to wait for my brother to make his decision. As for now, Tina would keep the figures until her father said otherwise. Wendy said she did not have 6 hours to wait. She said I should be able to see how messed up this is and make Tina return the figures. Again, I refused to make her, saying I personally think Tina earned the figures and my brother is the only one who can make Tina return them. Wendy called me AH for stealing, and as she could not wait around, took her son back, saying she will call later. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. First, they're 9, take the figures and give them back. They're kids. Assuming this story is real, she isn't wrong, she won, but they're kids. Second, watch her, kids a shark. Comment 2. Sorry, but you're the idiot. They were more his to wager. She won essentially stolen goods. Give them back. There is another child whose toys have been stolen. Comment 3. You're the idiot. Please try and remember you are an adult. Give them back and have a chat about consequences and family loyalty. Now for the update. After Wendy left that day, Tina became increasingly attached to the figures, making up stories for each one and integrating them into her daily play. It was evident that they were more than toys to her. They became her coping mechanism, a way to deal with the loneliness of her mother's passing and her father's absence. A week later, I received a call from Bill's half-brother's mother. She was livid, having learned about the figures and their sentimental value to her son. They were the last birthday gift he'd received from his own father before he passed away unexpectedly last year. The tension could be cut with a knife as she explained how important it was for her son to have those figures back, especially now that he was struggling with the anniversary of his father's death. With a heavy heart, I sat down with Tina to explain the situation. Tears welled up in her eyes as she listened, and she clutched the figures tightly against her chest. The idea of giving them up was crushing to her, and she begged me to find another way. I felt torn, knowing the right thing to do was to return the figures to their rightful owner, yet seeing Tina so distraught kept me up at night. I reached out to Wendy, hoping we could come up with a solution together, but we hit a wall. Wendy's attempts to have Bill apologize and explain the situation to Tina only made things worse. Tina felt betrayed by Bill, and Bill was confused, caught between his mother's expectations and his cousin's evident pain. In the end, seeing no way out, I had to make the toughest decision. I arranged for a quiet exchange where Tina reluctantly handed over the figures to Bill's half-brother's mother. The moment the figures left her hands, Tina's spirit seemed to break. She was quiet for days, her bright laughter gone, and I was left questioning whether I had done the right thing. I've tried to fill the void with new toys, games and activities, but nothing seems to work. Tina's grief is palpable, and seeing her this way is breaking my heart. I can only hope that time will help her heal, but for now our home is filled with a sorrow that feels too big for either of us to handle. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Grief is a monster, but it doesn't give Tina the right to keep something that isn't hers, especially when it holds sentimental value to someone else's family. It's a tough lesson, but sometimes giving back is part of healing. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Tina's going through a lot, and those figures became her lifeline. Taking them away, even if they belong to someone else, just adds to her trauma. There could have been a more compassionate solution, like sharing custody or finding similar figures for her. Comment 3. Not the idiot. It's heartbreaking, but the figures weren't Tina's to keep. They're a piece of someone else's heart. You did the right thing. Maybe help Tina find a new way to remember her mum that's uniquely hers. It could be a step towards healing. Now, for the next story. My 23-year-old male, baby brother Matteo, 15-year-old male, started dating one of his wrestling teammates Ron, 17-year-old male. I don't like Ron at all and something's off with him. Around my parents he's sweet as saccharine, but around others he's a rude little shitty. I don't like the way he talks to Matteo and seems to have isolated him away from his friends. He's constantly calling, wanting to know where Matteo is, and every time they have a bad argument, Matteo comes home crying and Ron buys him some new trinket and it's all better. Matteo has been blaming a lot of stuff on wrestling practice. I've tried talking to Matteo about it, but he either just brushes it off, shuts down, or gets mad. Our family, while accepting that he's gay, is still pretty machismo and into more traditional roles. It's no secret that Ron isn't my favourite person. I'm getting married in a week, and originally Ron wasn't coming, but all of a sudden yesterday Matteo asked if Ron can come. I asked him why all of a sudden he wants to come when he said he didn't at first. Matteo tells me Ron knows I don't like him, and he wants to fix that. Unfortunately, there really isn't any more room for anyone else with all the family coming, and I told Matteo that. Matteo got mad and yelled at me that our other siblings got to bring a date, and I countered that they already said they were going in the beginning, and I actually wanted them there. Matteo gets even more mad and tells me Ron told him this would happen, and that the only reason I wouldn't let him bring Ron is because he's a boy. I told him that wasn't true, and I explained why I didn't want Ron there. He just blows up at me crying that none of it's true and asking me why I couldn't just be happy for him, and called me hateful. I told him to FK off as I was the first person he came out to and supported him. He just stormed off and we haven't talked since. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, you're wedding your rules, but be careful. It sounds like Ron may be a controlling aggressor. He is already isolating Matteo, and that Ron said to Matteo, you would do this concerns me. Just make sure this doesn't cause Matteo to isolate himself from family as well. Edit word, comment 2. Not the idiot. You have a valid reason for not wanting Ron there. And even if your reasoning was invalid, it is still your wedding and you get to decide who is there and who is not. Comment 3. Sounds like Ron is controlling your brother. You need to tread carefully here because Ron may well turn your brother against you. Not the idiot. Now, for the update. I can't believe it's only been a month since Matteo asked if Ron could come to my wedding, and how much has unravelled since then. Shortly after that argument, Matteo started to skip meals. Mum tried to coax him out of his room, but he just kept claiming he wasn't hungry or that he had eaten with Ron. It seemed like he was withdrawing more and more each day, and the light in his eyes was dimming. Then, 2 weeks ago, one of Matteo's teachers called. She was worried because he'd been missing homework and seemed distracted in class. That wasn't like him at all. He's always been so diligent with his schoolwork. When we confronted him about it, he just broke down, sobbing about how he couldn't focus, how Ron was constantly messaging him, demanding his attention, even during classes. The breaking point came last week. Matteo came home with a bruise on his cheek. He tried to brush it off as a wrestling injury, but the truth came out when his best friend showed up at our doorstep, looking furious and scared at the same time. He told us Ron had hit Matteo after an argument, that Ron's temper was short and it wasn't the first time it had happened. We were in shock. No one had any idea how to process it. Dad was pacing, saying he'd have a talk with Ron's parents, but Mom, she just sat there looking more defeated than I've ever seen her. Matteo was still defending Ron, saying it was his fault for provoking him, but we could all see the cycle of manipulation and abuse. I've reached out to a counsellor who specialises in teenage relationships and abuse, hoping that professional help can get through to him. Matteo has reluctantly agreed to go, but only after we promise not to press charges against Ron or involve the school. He's scared of what Ron might do, scared of being outed to the wrestling team in a bad light, but mostly he's scared of being alone. My wedding has taken a back seat to all of this. It's just not as important as making sure my brother is safe and feels supported. I've been trying to be there for him, to show him that he's not alone, and that being treated like this by someone who claims to love you is not okay. But every time I see the shadows under his eyes or jump when his phone pings, I'm reminded of how deep he's in this and how hard it's going to be to help him heal. It's heartbreaking. Matteo is only 15 and should be worrying about school dances, not nursing wounds from someone who's supposed to care about him. I just hope we can help him find his way back to the happy kid he used to be before this all started. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Your priority is Matteo's well-being over wedding plans, which is commendable. It's a tough situation, but you're doing the right thing by getting him professional help and not immediately involving the authorities, which could escalate things or make Matteo retreat further. You're being a supportive sibling in a crisis, and that's what family is for. Comment 2. You're the idiot for not involving the authorities. I get that you want to protect your brother and respect his wishes, but we're talking about potential abuse here. By not reporting it, you could be enabling Ron's behavior. Safety first, wedding second. Matteo might not see it now, but he could be in real danger, and it's your responsibility to intervene more aggressively. Comment 3. Not the idiot, and I salute you for handling this with such sensitivity. Matteo needs love and support right now, not the stress of a wedding or the fear of police involvement. You're giving him a safe space to open up and heal, which is exactly what he needs. Kudos to you for recognizing that some things are more important than a perfect wedding day. Now, for the next story. Our son is 8 years old and has an incredible curiosity about the world. His first and second grade teachers gave nothing but glowing praise regarding both his intellectual growth and his demeanor. However, his third grade year has not gone well. His teacher has sent us several emails stating that our son does not pay attention in class and is cold toward his classmates. When his mother and I asked him how school is going, he tells us he hates it. He said, all the teacher does is yell at the class to stop talking, then the kids keep talking and we never do anything, and I hate being there. I can see the light fading from his eyes every day, and every Sunday night mid-September on he cries because he doesn't want to go to school. My son lives with his mother and spends weekends with me. We all live in the same town, and I would describe the relationship between his mother and me as cooperative, but bad feelings persist. I asked my son a few weeks ago if he wanted to change schools, and he responded, God, yes. I asked his mother if she would have any issue with me sending him to a highly regarded private school about 17 miles from our town. She reacted in an unexpected way. She said I was being ridiculous and that it would be an undue burden on her to take him to a different school. Fair. And it would be unfair to her other children if only one of her kids got to go to private school. I added that I would take him and drop him off every day and pay for it 100%, and she still said no. I told her, I don't want our son to waste his potential, nor do I want to fail him as a father. In essence, she responded that our son is just being a brat because he's bored. I registered him at this school and paid the tuition. He starts in August. I told him what I had done and he was elated. Naturally, upon hearing this news, his mother was apoplectic. All I said was, fine, you tell him he isn't going because you think he's a brat. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, maybe switch your custody schedule so you have him during the week for school and he goes to her on the weekend. Comment 2. Her other kids are not yours, right? If they are, then good Lucal, not the idiot. Now for the update. It's been a month since I decided to enroll my son in the private school, and the fallout has been nothing short of a disaster. The tension between his mother and me reached new heights. We can barely have a civil conversation now. She's gone as far to file for full custody, using my actions as evidence of my inability to co-parent effectively. As for my son, the transition to the new school has been rough. He's a smart kid, and academically he's doing well, but socially it's like he's retreated into a shell. He comes home every day with stories about not fitting in and getting picked on for being the new kid. The private school atmosphere is different, and he's struggling to adjust to the more disciplined and competitive environment. He's started to act out at home too. His behavior has taken a 180-degree turn. He's moody, quick to anger, and I can tell he's bottling up a lot of emotions. The other night, he broke down crying, saying he missed his old friends and didn't understand why everything had to change so suddenly. To make matters worse, his attendance at the private school has created a rift between him and his siblings. They're asking why they can't go to a fancy school too, and I can see the resentment building. Their mother's frustration only fuels their feelings of unfairness. I've been trying to set up meetings with his new teachers to address the social issues, but they seem less accommodating than I'd hoped. They keep emphasizing personal responsibility and resilience, but he's only 8. I'm not sure how much resilience he can muster when he feels so isolated. The guilt is eating me up. I thought I was doing what was best for him, but now I'm not so sure. I'm questioning whether my pride and my issues with his mother clouded my judgment. I wanted to give him the best, but maybe I didn't consider the full impact it would have on his emotional well-being or our family dynamic. I'm at a loss, and I'm scared that the court will see my decision as impulsive and detrimental, which could mean less time with my son. All I wanted was to help him flourish, but it feels like I've done the opposite. The worst part? I don't know how to fix it, and I'm running out of time to try. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. You made a decision you thought was in the best interest of your child's education. It's not uncommon for kids to struggle when transitioning to a new school, and it sounds like you're actively trying to work with the teachers to resolve the social issues. Plus, feeling guilty shows you care about your son's well-being. It's a tough spot, but the intent was positive. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Deciding on your child's education should be a joint decision. It's not just about academics, it's about his emotional and social well-being too. You've disregarded the mother's input and the impact on your son, which is now clear. You've got to prioritize your child's happiness over your pride and work with his mother to find the best solution, even if that means admitting you were wrong. Comment 3. Not the idiot. The fact that the child's mother went straight for full custody instead of trying to work things out speaks volumes. You're trying to give your son the best education possible, and sometimes that comes with growing pains. Keep working with the school, and maybe look for outside social opportunities for him. Hang in there, transitions are hard, but they can lead to great outcomes. Now, for the next story. My 28-year-old male girlfriend, 25-year-old female, and I have always had a playfully competitive relationship, but things have changed. We used to enjoy play wrestling as I wrestled in high school and she played a Division I sport, so things were always competitive and fun. But over the past few years, she has become highly competitive in CrossFit and powerlifting and has developed insane strength. On the other hand, I have a condition where I can't gain weight. I have hinted to her that I don't think we should play wrestle as I'm worried I could get hurt, but she just laughs and rolls her eyes. The last time she challenged me, I ended up being sore for like 3 days. We were out with her CrossFit friends this weekend, and she'd been drinking and she picked me up and threw me over her shoulder. I was embarrassed and told her to put me down, but her friends were egging it on and laughing. She put me down after a minute or two, and I was so upset that I stormed out of the bar and drove home. I was their designated driver for the night. I packed a bag and told her I'm not staying with her until she respects me more, and she's upset I left when I was their designated driver. Am I the jerk for storming out of the bar when I was their designated driver and packing a bag and leaving our apartment? Edit. For those asking about her strength, she was a competitive rower in college and can squat 405 pounds. I weigh around 155. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Your GF is being hurtful, extremely disrespectful, and is not listening to you. If the genders were reversed, people would easily acknowledge the hurtful nature of this relationship. Comment 2. She's upset I left when I was their DD. She shouldn't have fricked around if she wasn't willing to find out. Not the idiot and stick to your guns. Comment 3. You are in an hurtful relationship. Not saying you need to leave, but you need to be aware. Now for the update. After I stormed out, I crashed at my buddy's place to cool off. I didn't even contact my girlfriend for 2 days, trying to sort out my feelings and figure out my next move. Well, apparently that didn't sit well with her at all. She showed up at my work with this grand gesture, which was both sweet and kinda mortifying. She had made these custom t-shirts for her and her CrossFit pals that said Team My Name's Biggest Fans, and they all wore them to my job. It was a mix of apologetic and a public peace offering. I was stunned, to say the least, but we agreed to talk after I got off work. We sat down and had the most intense conversation of our relationship. She admitted that she didn't realize how her actions and her new strength had been making me feel. I admitted that I was struggling with feeling emasculated because I couldn't keep up with her physically due to my condition. Turns out, she thought the whole picking me up thing was just fun and games and didn't see it as crossing a boundary until I actually left that night. But here's the jaw-dropper. During our talk, she revealed that she had started training for a regional CrossFit competition, and she wanted me to help coach her. She said that my strategic mindset and our competitive spirit could be an advantage for her training. I was skeptical at first because, well, what do I know about coaching a CrossFit athlete? But she said it wasn't about lifting techniques, it was about mental preparation, motivation, diet planning, things I could actually contribute to despite not being able to bulk up myself. Fast forward to now, I've been helping her out for the last week and a half, and it's honestly been a blast. We've found this new way to connect and channel our competitive sides into something positive. Plus, she's been way more mindful of my physical limits during our personal time. And get this, at her gym, they're even starting to refer to me as the strategist, which is kind of a cool nickname. It's weird how things turn out, going from feeling totally overpowered and humiliated to being an integral part of her training. I guess life throws you these curveballs. We're working through our issues, and it turns out this whole mess actually brought us closer. Now, I'm actually looking forward to her competition. Never thought I'd be this involved in CrossFit culture, but here we are. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Your girlfriend showed up at your workplace, which is a huge red flag for me. Who does that? It's good that you're supporting her now, but she should have respected your space after the fight. She could have texted you about the t-shirts instead of putting you on the spot in front of your colleagues. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You needed time to cool off, which is healthy. Your girlfriend should understand that. It's great you're embracing her interests now, and it's clearly bringing you closer. It's all about communication, and it seems like you're both on the right track. Plus, coaching her shows you're a team. Good luck to her at the competition. Comment 3. You're the idiot, not contacting her for 2 days. Communication is key, my friend. She was trying to make amends with those custom t-shirts, which is pretty sweet if you ask me. You should have reached out sooner, but I'm glad you're getting into CrossFit and supporting her now. Better late than never. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.